Religions of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is officially a Buddhist country, while Sri Lankans practice a variety of religions. As of 2012, 70.2% of Sri Lankans were Buddhists, 12.6% were Hindus, 9.7% were Muslims, mainly Sunni, 7.4% were Christians, mostly Catholics. Buddhism is declared as the state religion of Sri Lanka and has been given special privileges in the Sri Lankan constitution, such as the government is bound for protection and fostering of Buddhist Dharma throughout the nation. However, the constitution also provides for freedom of religion and right to equality among all its citizens. In 2008, Sri Lanka was the third most religious country in the world, according to a Gallup poll, with 99% of Sri Lankans saying religion is an important part of their daily life. Theravada Buddhism is the official religion of Sri Lanka, with about 70.2% of the country's population as followers. Arahat Mahinda, son of the Indian Buddhist Emperor Ashoka, led the mission to Sri Lanka in 246 BCE when he converted the Sri Lankan king Devanampiyatissa to Buddhism. Arahat Sangamitta, daughter of King Ashoka, brought a sapling of the Bodhi tree in Buddha Gaya to Sri Lanka. She also established the order of the nuns in Sri Lanka. The saplings of the Bodhi tree, known as Jayasri Mahabodhi, was planted in the Mahameuna Park in Anuradhapura by the king Devanampiyatissa. Hindus make 12.6% of Sri Lanka's population. Hinduism was practiced by native kings before their conversion to Buddhism. The origins of religions are linked to the early Tamil immigration into the islands since the Chola conquest in the 10th century or even earlier with Saivid devotional movement that swept South India. Hinduism in Sri Lanka is largely identified with the Tamil population and is concentrated in the northern, eastern and central provinces. The Hindu population declined since 1981 census on account of Sri Lankan Tamil immigration overseas and the repatriation of Indian Tamils. By the 7th century, Arab traders had controlled much of the trade on the Indian Ocean, including that of Sri Lanka. Many of these traders settled down in Sri Lanka, encouraging the spread of Islam. However, when the Portuguese arrived in Sri Lanka during the 16th century, many of the Arab Muslim descendants were persecuted, thus forcing them to migrate to Central Highlands and to the East Coast. In modern times, Muslims in Sri Lanka have the Muslim Religious and Cultural Affairs Department, which was established in 1980 to prevent the continual isolation of the Muslim community from the rest of Sri Lanka. Today, about 9.7% of Sri Lankans adhere to Islam, mostly from the Moor, Malay ethnic communities on the island. According to a Christian tradition, Christianity was introduced by Thomas the Apostle in Sri Lanka as well as India during the 1st century. The first evidence of Christianity in Sri Lanka is the account in the 6th century Christian topography, which says a community of Persian Nestorians lived on the island. The Anuradhapura cross, discovered in 1912, is probably a relic of this community. However, the population of Christians in Sri Lanka didn't dramatically increase until the arrival of Portuguese missionaries during the 15th century. In the 17th century, the Dutch took over the missionaries and were able to convert 20% of Sri Lanka's population to Christianity by 1622. In 1796, the Dutch were displaced by the British, and in 1802, Ceylon became a crown colony. Anglican and other Protestant missionaries arrived at Sri Lanka during the early 19th century when the British took control of Sri Lanka from the Dutch. Under the British rule, missionary work was undertaken by English societies, Baptist, Wesleyan Methodist, the CMS and SPG. The Salvation Army and Jehovah's Witnesses are also present in Sri Lanka. The percentage of Christians has slowly declined from the height of 13% in 1891 and the number was 302,000. In 2022, the Christian population is 7.4%. By the 1980s, the population of Christians were mostly concentrated in the northwest of Sri Lanka and in the capital, where they are 10% of the population. Of these Christians, 80% are Roman Catholics, while the rest are predominantly Anglicans, Methodists and other Protestants. Adherents to Baha'i faith have been present in Sri Lanka since 1949. The first Baha'i resident in Colombo was a physician from India, M.E. Lukmani. Its population grew in 1950s and by 1962, its first administrative body for the national level, the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'i of Sri Lanka, was elected. If not for the rise in poverty and corrupt politics, all religious segments in Sri Lanka would live in harmony and prosperity. Thank you.